If you open your phone right now, you are practically guaranteed to get just like complete digital whiplash.
Oh, absolutely. Every single time.
Right, because one swipe shows you, I don't know, a billionaire complaining about the upholstery on their private jet. And then the very next swipe is someone literally begging for help because their house is underwater.
Yeah, it's jarring.
It is. We are living in two entirely different realities on the exact same screen, just constantly bouncing between these absolutely absurd extremes of wealth and then, the messy, terrifying reality that the rest of the world actually lives in. And today's deep dive is all about exploring the exact whiplash.
It's a fascinating and honestly a pretty disturbing juxtaposition. But reading through today's stack of documents, what really ties all of this together is the concept of influence.
Right. Influence is the common denominator here.
Exactly. We're going to look at how influence is weaponized in private relationships, how it's monetized on this massive corporate scale, and ultimately how it completely warps reality for the people who wield it. The mission today is to dig into that jarring contrast, between those carefully curated, glamorous worlds and the much darker machinery that's just kind of hiding beneath the surface.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because the best place to start is with a family dynamic that is basically playing out as public theater right now.
Ah, yes. The Kardashians.
The Kardashians. Specifically, Kourtney Kardashian, Travis Barker, and a total masterclass in how extreme wealth complicates basic family structures.
Right. So the situation revolves around Travis Barker's recent Hulu documentary premiere.
Which focuses heavily on his plane crash, right?
Yes. It focuses heavily on the horrific plane crash he survived years ago, so it's an incredibly traumatic, emotional focal point for him. And Kourtney attended the premiere, and she brought along Travis's older teenage kids, Alabama and Landon.
Okay.
But she left the younger kids at home, so that's her kids with Scott Disick-Mason, Penelope, and Rain, and her 2-year-old with Travis Rocky.
Which, if you've ever met a toddler, it makes perfect sense.
Exactly.
A red carpet documentary about a catastrophic plane crash isn't exactly Chuck E. Cheese. You don't bring a 2-year-old to that.
No, you really don't. But common sense rarely matters when influence and public image are involved.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah.
Because Travis's ex-wife, Shanna Moakler, who was Miss USA 1995 and married to Travis from 2004 to 2008, she decided to weigh in.
She certainly did.
And fun fact from our notes here, fans actually used to call her Sleepy Shanna because on their old reality show, she famously demanded 10 to 12 hours of sleep a night.
Which honestly sounds pretty great.
Right. Honestly, respect.
Yeah.
But she is wide awake for this drama. She dropped a highly shady comment on the premiere photos.
The one she deleted later.
Yes, the deleted one. She simply asked, quote, "Where is her children?"
Right. And it's a classic rhetorical job. She knows full well the toddlers are with a nanny at a mansion.
Obviously.
The comment isn't actually about childcare. It's designed to publicly question Kourtney's fitness as a mother.
Yeah, and the underlying tension here is just so thick you could cut it with a knife. Shanna has made it very clear that she feels Kourtney essentially, quote, stole her children.
She blames the glitter and fame, right?
Exactly. She blames the Kardashian empire. She claims that because she can't offer Prada bags every other week or mansion living with private movie theaters or, casual introductions to Kanye West, she's just been left in the dust.
It's a very real grievance for her.
And the fallout is entirely real. Her daughter, Alabama, has openly stated she went 7 months without even hearing from her mother.
Wow, 7 months.
7 months. Meanwhile, Shanna is hitting the podcast circuit. She went on the Dumb Blonde show, calling the Kardashians disgusting, and she's threatening to tell her side of the story in an upcoming memoir.
What's fascinating here is the psychological impact of competing with unlimited resources. Shanna is describing a form of alienation that is entirely rooted in wealth and access.
Yeah.
How does a normal or even affluent parent compete with a billion-dollar empire?
You really can't.
No. But look at the glaring irony in her behavior here. She claims she wants to remove herself from this toxic situation, right? To step away from the fame machine that quote-unquote captured her kids.
And she's doing the exact opposite.
Precisely. She's simultaneously leveraging public platforms, doing press tours, leaving provocative comments on Instagram, and teasing a memoir. She's using the exact same machinery of fame to maintain her own relevance.
I have to push back a little on Shanna's narrative, though. Can we really blame a teenager for being drawn to that lifestyle?
That's a fair point.
It's like putting a kid in a candy store that also happens to be a gravity well. When one parent can offer red carpets, infinite resources and global connections. And the other parent simply can't. Doesn't parental alienation just become a natural, almost inevitable byproduct of extreme wealth?
That's it.
Like, it's not necessarily an evil plot by the stepmom. It's just the reality of having billionaire resources.
That's a very sharp way to look at it. The Kardashian orbit draws people in because of the undeniable allure of proximity to power. But that gravity well of celebrity influence doesn't just alienate family members. When that exact same unchecked power operates behind closed doors in a corporate setting, it becomes actively dangerous.
Which brings us to our next document.
Yes. Look at what's happening with Kanye West.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Because the contrast between his public persona and these private allegations in our notes is just staggering.
We're looking at a lawsuit filed by Benjamin Provo. He's a former employee at Donda Academy, which is Kanye's uncredited private school. And Provo also functioned as a security guard for him.
And the allegations are incredibly serious.
Very.
Provo is suing for a hostile work environment, retaliation, and multiple labor code violations. But the specific details are what really stop you in your tracks.
It's quite shocking.
He alleges that black employees were given significantly less favorable tasks compared to their white counterparts. And Provo, who wears dreadlocks for religious purposes, claims Kanye directly ordered him to cut his hair or face being fired.
And beyond the alleged discrimination, there are claims about how his influence was physically weaponized.
Yeah, this part is wild.
Provo states he was explicitly instructed to physically attack any photographers who were taking unwarranted pictures of Kanye.
I can't get over the glaring contradiction here. Kanye built his entire early legacy, his whole cultural footprint, on advocating for his community.
He was the voice calling out systemic inequality.
Exactly. And now he's facing lawsuits for allegedly discriminating against black employees in his own organization. It's like building a fortress to protect people, only to become the villain locking them in the dungeon. I mean, how does a shift like that actually happen?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is a textbook example of how cults of personality operate once they reach a certain threshold of wealth.
Okay, how so?
Well, in a normal company, you have human resources, compliance departments, legal frameworks that govern behavior. There are checks and balances.
Right, you can't just tell someone to assault the photographer.
Exactly. But when an individual becomes infinitely powerful and wealthy, standard corporate infrastructure just doesn't exist. There's no HR department to file a grievance with when the CEO is a billionaire artist who dictates the entire reality of the organization.
Wow, yeah.
The rules of society are entirely replaced by the whims of the individual.
He's the ultimate insulated bubble, which makes his wife's involvement in this whole thing so crucial, because Bianca Censori is deeply entangled in this legal mess now.
Right. And for context, for anyone not keeping up, Bianca has been making global headlines for her highly controversial public appearances.
Outfits.
Yes, walking around, including on a recent trip to her homeland of Australia, wearing highly revealing clothing.
The notes mentioned observers comparing her aesthetic to looking like a literal blow-up doll.
It's bizarre. It's almost performance art level public behavior.
But the legal system doesn't really care about performance art, because Bianca is listed as one of 22 witnesses for this upcoming October trial regarding Provo's labor lawsuit.
That's right.
And because she's lifted, she could be legally forced to testify under oath.
And that is the mechanics of accountability at work. It proves that no matter how insulated a celebrity thinks they are, no matter how much they try to operate outside the norms of society, the legal system possesses the tools to pierce that inner circle.
They can't hide forever.
No. Bianca knows the inner workings of that organization. Being compelled to testify brings the reality of the justice system crashing right through their carefully curated bubble.
It's a stark reminder that influence can't buy immunity forever. But, let's look at the flip side of this.
Okay.
While some celebrities use their empires to build these chaotic, insular environments, others are using their digital influence to secure entirely legitimate generational wealth.
A completely different approach.
Right. Though somehow the internet still finds a way to be mad about it.
You're referring to the Shay Mitchell document, the acquisition of Bay?
Yes.
Wow.
So Shay Mitchell, who most people know as an actress from Pretty Little Liars, she founded a travel and luggage brand called Bay back in 2018.
A very popular brand.
Hugely popular. And she is currently selling an 85% stake in the company to Samsonite.
The luggage giant.
The luggage giant. And the price tag, $210 million.
Wow.
And she gets to retain a 15% stake and keep a hand in the decision-making process.
It is a massive institutional acquisition, but we have to understand what Samsonite is actually buying here.
Right, it's not just zippers.
No, they aren't dropping $250 million for zipper technology or suitcase molds. They already have all of that. They're explicitly acquiring Baeye's massive digital presence.
The audience.
Exactly. The brand has over 2 million combined followers across platforms like TikTok and Instagram. Samsonite is buying a pre-packaged, highly engaged millennial and Gen Z audience.
It's a brilliant business move on both sides. But the public debate surrounding this is just completely baffling to me.
Oh, the comments are wild.
Right. Fans are arguing online that Shea was, quote, robbed, or that her brand was incredibly undervalued. They keep comparing her $210 million payout to Hailey Bieber's skincare line, Rhode, which is reportedly valued at $1 billion.
An apples and oranges comparison.
Totally. And on top of that, fans are expressing fears that Samsonite is going to ruin the manufacturing quality of the luggage. So what does this all mean? Has our perception of money become totally warped?
It really has.
Shea just secured $210 billion in hard capital. Her family never has to work again for the rest of human history. Why are people treating a $250 million win like a tragic loss just because we live in the era of the tech billionaire?
Because we're witnessing the difficult transition from an quote-unquote influencer brand to an institutional asset, and the public fundamentally misunderstands the economics at play.
Oh, so?
Well, we've been conditioned by headlines of billion-dollar unicorns to view anything less with suspicion, but you have to separate internet hype from physical retail economics.
Okay.
Yeah. Fans are comparing a physical retail luggage company, which has massive overhead, global shipping logistics, and heavy manufacturing costs, to a digital-first skincare brand.
Right. You cannot compare the profit margins on a 2-ounce moisturizer to the margins on a 50-pound rolling suitcase.
Exactly. It's a totally different business model. We're actually witnessing the flip of the traditional corporate playbook here.
What do you mean?
Historically, a company built a great product and spent decades and millions of dollars on advertising to win an audience. Today, an influencer builds a massive audience first, creates a product, and legacy corporations will pay hundreds of millions of dollars just to absorb that audience because their customer acquisition cost is practically zero.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
Shea Mitchell transitioned digital influence into hard institutional capital, but the audience feels a parasocial ownership over her. They trust the influencer. They do not trust the corporation.
It really is a phenomenal success story for her, leveraging the internet to build a safety net made of solid gold. But I think we need to take a breath here, because Shea used digital platforms to build an empire. Now we have to look at the exact opposite.
This next document is heavy.
It is.
Yeah.
We have to look at the absolute darkest side of the digital age, using those exact same live streaming platforms to broadcast self-destruction and abuse purely for engagement.
The situation with the rapper Blueface is incredibly disturbing, and it highlights a severe algorithmic failure in how we consume media.
I was genuinely sick to my stomach reading through this account.
It's off.
Blueface was streaming on a platform called Kickstream. He was at a pool with his pregnant girlfriend, Nivea, and on the live broadcast, for everyone to see, he violently kicked her in the lower back.
Yes.
He also slammed a child into the water.
And the physical violence is only the first layer of this nightmare. The surreal, almost dystopian element is the sheer lack of boundaries that followed.
They didn't turn it off. They left the pool, went home, and just kept the live stream rolling. They broadcast themselves showering. They broadcast themselves getting massages.
It's unthinkable.
And when the police inevitably arrived at the house to investigate the assault that thousands of people had just watched happen in real time, they kept the stream running while they were questioned.
It's a complete voluntary collapse of privacy.
And the interaction with the police is sickening. Nivea, the pregnant girlfriend, blatantly denied to the officers that she was kicked in the stomach, minimizing the lower back kick.
Right, she protected him.
She outright refused medical help from the fire department and bizarrely claimed she was just, quote, trying to go into labor.
And meanwhile, Blueface is just continuing the broadcast?
Yes. Meanwhile, Blueface made this chilling on-stream admission. He casually admitted to cheating on Nivea with his ex-girlfriend, Christine Rock, who, tragically, has a child suffering from fetal alcohol syndrome due to extreme negligence.
A whole other layer of tragedy.
Completely. But when Nivea questioned Blueface's apology for the cheating, like actually trying to hold him accountable, Blueface just looked at her dead in the eyes and said, "Yeah, sure, I intended to do it. I probably shouldn't apologize."
This raises an incredibly important question about the modern mechanics of attention.
What's that?
Why broadcast this? Why leave the camera on when the police arrive?
That's what I don't understand. It's like a horror movie where the victims are holding the camera.
Yeah.
Have we reached a point where digital engagement, the views, the live comments, the monetization is literally prioritized over basic physical safety?
Unfortunately, yes. What we're witnessing is the normalization of abuse as quote-unquote content. The mechanics of platforms like Kickstream incentivize unhinged behavior through live engagement algorithms. The more chaotic the stream, the higher it gets pushed. The more people watch, the more money is made.
So the audience is basically funding it.
The audience becomes complicit the moment they log in to watch the train wreck. But the most chilling aspect is Blueface's absolute honesty in his non-apology.
Yeah, that he intended to do it.
Right. The reason he doesn't feel the need to pretend he's sorry is because the engagement itself is his validation. He feels utterly untouchable because the platform is rewarding him for the exact behavior he should be arrested for.
That is deeply, deeply depressing. We just spent all this time analyzing people who throw away millions, who weaponize their fame, and who treat their lives and the people around them like disposable pieces in a game for views.
Which is exactly why we need to ground ourselves with a totally different perspective for this last document.
We really do. It's like stepping out of a noisy, flashing arcade into the freezing rain. Because among all this celebrity chaos in our research stack, there's a first-hand account from an everyday person, just anonymously sharing a life update online.
It's very grounding.
It is a massive splash of cold water. So this individual details losing their home entirely to a flood.
Just everything gone.
Everything. They mentioned they managed to get their car replaced, which is a small victory, but they're facing a terrifying, literal ticking clock.
Yeah.
By September 4th, this person will be completely homeless. They wrote about how they're going to have to bounce around cheap hotels just to survive day by day. They mentioned that conversations with lawyers have been totally unpromising, meaning the legal system, the physical infrastructure of society isn't helping them at all.
But fallen through the cracks.
Completely. They are living in a deep depression, just waiting for the floor to drop out beneath them. But, and this is the part that got me, despite all of that agonizing uncertainty, the entire reason they posted this update was to express profound gratitude.
Yeah.
They wanted to thank internet strangers for their kindness, saying the emotional support they received online has actually restored their faith in humanity.
It's a profound synthesis of everything we've unpacked today.
How so?
Well, we've spent this deep dive looking at how celebrities use the internet to air petty grievances, to build corporate empires, or to broadcast horrific toxicity because they're insulated from consequence.
Right.
But here we see the internet functioning as a literal safety net of human connection when the physical world has completely failed someone. It highlights a massive disconnect in modern society.
It really makes you evaluate where we direct our attention and our empathy.
Absolutely.
I mean, we give millions of views and engagement to billionaires fighting over red carpets and abusers live streaming their crimes, while real people are literally counting down the days until they lose their shelter, relying on the kindness of a few strangers in a comment section just to keep their hope alive.
It's a stark reminder of what is actually at stake in the real world, far outside the curated algorithms.
It is. Okay, let's take a breath and recap the wild journey we just took.
It's been a lot.
It has. We started by looking at how extreme wealth can fracture family dynamics, with Kourtney Kardashian and Shanna Moakler's public feud over the kids. We explored the unchecked, insulated power of Kanye West's empire and those terrifying allegations from his former employees. We broke down the actual business mechanics of public perception when Shay Mitchell turned digital influence into a $210 million institutional asset. We waded into the absolute darkness of Blueface and how platforms monetize abuse for engagement. And finally, we grounded ourselves with a sobering reminder of the everyday human struggle, where the internet isn't a game, but a literal lifeline.
And as we close out this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought. As you go through your own feeds today, looking at the endless scroll of information, ask yourself, are the digital platforms we use connecting us to reality, or are they just numbing us to it? When the lines between manufactured entertainment, extreme wealth, and actual human suffering completely disappear into one single stream of content, what happens to our empathy?
That's a question that's going to stick with me for a long time. When you're looking at that broken X-ray of society, it's hard to know where to start fixing it. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. Keep questioning the information you consume. Take care of yourselves, and we'll catch you next time.